Have you ever come across an idea that just completely stops you in your tracks? We're about to dive into one of those, a divine riddle, straight from the ancient verses of the Gita. This is a puzzle about the very nature of God, and trust me, it's going to challenge how you see, well, everything. So, you ready for this?
Okay, so here it is. This is the verse that sets up the entire mystery. Lord Krishna says, "This entire universe is pervaded by me. All beings are in me, but I am not in them." Wait, what? Just let that sit for a moment. It sounds like a total contradiction, right? I mean, how can everything be in God if God isn't in everything? It feels like it breaks the laws of logic. And that's exactly where our journey begins. Right. So that's the big question on the table. How can this possibly be true? On the surface, it doesn't make sense. But what's fascinating is that the Gita doesn't just leave us hanging with this paradox. It actually gives us a path to the answer. We just have to be willing to climb a few levels of understanding to get there. So, here's how we're going to do this. We're going to approach it like a journey, in 3 steps. We'll start with the first, most basic idea, then move to a deeper connection, and finally arrive at the ultimate truth. Let's get started on that first step. Okay, the first understanding, the Creator. This is probably the most common starting point for a lot of people when they think about God and the universe. It's the most intuitive place to begin. So level 1 is pretty straightforward. You look at this incredibly complex, intricate universe around us and you think, wow, this couldn't have just happened by accident, right? It implies there's an intelligent creator, a God, who designed and built it all. It's that first big step away from thinking everything is just random chaos. And a really good way to picture this is the baker and bread analogy. You've got the baker, that's God, the intelligent one, and the bread, which is the universe. The baker takes all these separate ingredients, flour, water, yeast, and creates something new. It's a clean separation. Make sense, right? But, and there's a big but here, this simple idea runs into a pretty serious problem.
And this is where it starts to fall apart. See, if God is separate from creation, like the baker is from the bread, then by definition there are places where God isn't. There's the baker, and then over there is the bread. But the scriptures, including the Gita, are very clear that God is omnipresent, everywhere, all at once. So you've got a major conflict. You can't be separate from your creation and also be everywhere within it. So this first level of understanding, as simple as it is, just doesn't quite work.
So that contradiction pushes us to go deeper. We have to find a better explanation. Let's move on to the next level of truth. All right, so level 2, here the idea gets a lot more intimate. The creation isn't just something God made, it's actually a part of God. The universe is seen as an extension of God's own being. This means God isn't just the intelligent cause like the baker, but also the material cause, the stuff of the universe, comes from God. The perfect analogy for this level is the spider and its web. Think about it. A spider doesn't go to the store for ingredients. It spins the web out of its own body. It's both the creator and the material source. This is a brilliant solution to our last problem, right? Now God can be everywhere because the universe is literally made from God's own substance. But, yep, you probably saw this coming. This solution creates a whole new contradiction. Here's the new issue. If the creation is literally a part of God, then what happens when the creation suffers? All the pain, the destruction, the decay in the world, all of that would have to be happening to God. But the scriptures describe God as being ever peaceful, unchanging, and full of joy. How can God be perfectly blissful if God is also experiencing all the suffering of the world? It just doesn't line up. So this deeper understanding, while better, still isn't the complete picture. Which brings us to the final step, the ultimate revelation. This is where we get the answer that resolves everything. According to the Gita, this final truth requires a bit of a mental leap. It asks us to look at reality in a totally new way. And here's the key. The ultimate truth is that God has 2 components. It's not about being separate or being a part of creation. It's about a duality. There is an ultimate, unchanging reality, and then there's the temporary, changing illusion that we perceive as the universe. So let's break that down. On one hand, you have Brahman. This is the reality. It's the conscious principle, it has no form or attributes, and it's totally unchanging and eternal. The best way to think of it is like a giant, pure white movie screen. Then, on the other hand, you have the creation, which is described as an illusion. This is everything we see and touch. All the inert objects with forms and names. It's constantly changing, it's temporary. This is the movie being projected onto that screen. And that is how we solve the riddle from the beginning. The whole creation, all the people, the planets, the drama, the suffering, it's all part of the movie, the illusion that is playing out on the screen of Brahman. So all beings are in me because they exist within this cosmic projection. But I am not in them because the screen, the true reality of Brahman, is never affected by the movie. No matter how tragic or chaotic the film is, the screen itself remains pure, white, and untouched. Now, it's one thing to understand this idea with our minds, right? But the Gita suggests that truly comprehending it, really getting it, goes beyond just a mental exercise. It's something that comes through a path of devotion, surrender, and a genuine quest for this knowledge. So, when we pull it all together, what's the big lesson here? It's that understanding something this profound isn't just a one-shot deal. It's a journey, a ladder of truth. Each step we took gave us a piece of the puzzle, a partial truth. And those contradictions we kept hitting, they weren't dead ends. They were actually the signs telling us we needed to look deeper, to climb higher, until we reached the perspective where all the paradoxes finally made sense. And this whole idea leaves us with a pretty mind-blowing question to think about. If the world we experience every single day, everything we see and touch and feel, is actually an illusion projected onto a deeper, truer reality, what does that say about us? What does that mean about the nature of our own reality? Now that is a riddle worth pondering.